Everyone, welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief for Invest in Fighter Power Precision on a daily basis. You know, it's been a little bit tough lately, right? We're faced 6 of the last 7 days are down days, at least in the Dow. Some of the tech names have been hit pretty hard. We talked about this potentially happening right around the beginning of the release of tax reform, which we got as far as the proposal. Haven't put a piece out on it yet, but I will here soon about what everything the administration is looking to do as far as for increasing taxes on the rich, if you will, to be able to pay for some of their pay for the big bill that's out there. So, but we'll get into that on a later day. Today, we're going to talk about investing in space exploration. So if you're interested in, today we have the big news story is the SpaceX is sponsoring / paying for / involved with the first ever all commercial crew or all civilian crew going into space. Again, they're going to go into actual space, not the Diet Coke of space like Bezos and Richard Branson went to, but they're actually going to out further past where the International Space Station is, which nobody can argue that that's not space, right? Versus the kind of the short ticket that the other guys punched, if you will. But really the bigger picture here is when you think about investing, I like investment themes and investable themes. And is this one that is going to, is space flight going to adopt the model of aircraft flight? And I have friends, I wrote when I was on my second master's degree, my thesis was pulling the trigger from space. And again, I was in the military. We're talking about weaponizing space, theoretically, not in actuality, but some of the things we'd have to cover. And, how would you shoot things to, from, and through space without any controlling agency like the FAA, on the planet? If you start dropping bombs and things in a war zone, that becomes a no-fly area for civilian aircraft, so don't get shot down. You can't really do that in space because you got things in orbit, right? So so been involved with space for a long time, but one of the things my space friends, who's now in the Space Force, general officer, came up with, and at the time, using call signs, he's like, "Hey, cruiser, we'll know we've arrived in space flight when people stop clapping after the launch." And I thought that was probably the most on point description I'd ever heard of when space flight will be mature. He goes, every time an airplane rolls down at Austin International and it successfully gets in the air, people don't bust out into clapping, right? Because that's kind of the expectation, is that that's going to happen. So same sort of thing. You still see a lot of celebration when any space flight is going on, and of course we're still in that breaking new ground territory. But if you think it's going to follow manned flight, if you will, or airplane type flight, whether manned or unmanned, then you would have to think, okay, well, think of the airlines. Do they make money? I'm staying away from this, and I stay away from airlines too, because you know what? They're on like a 2 or 3 day. If they get shut down for 2 or 3 days, they're bankrupt and they have to get bailed out by the government. So I think if anything, space flight will follow the same way. It'll start to be like a habit of the rich, like it is now. I read today, there's only 600 people that have ever been to space. I don't know if that counts the short flights that Branson and Bezos had or not, but pretty small set of individuals. So therefore that's going to be catered to the wealthy. So we're talking this maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the road before we really have regular space flight on a regular basis, if you will. And secondly, Elon Musk talks a lot about colonizing Mars. Is that going to happen in our lifetime? I don't know. Things do happen pretty quickly. But all of those things, if you want to invest in, I'm going to show you some opportunities to invest in today. I'm not sold personally, so I'm staying away, but I do buy the fact that, it could work and you can make a lot of money too. But no, it's not getting any of my money or my clients' money unless folks insist on it, for sure. And I have a couple that have already, like, no, give me a piece of that. And certainly we can work that into their portfolio. All right. As far as the question today is going to be, what are credit markets? I do have a new credit investment that I'm putting money into myself, as well as some of the clients that are out there. So we're going to talk about that, and we'll do a special piece on that later on. As far as our day trading stuff, longs, we have Weber and CAN are both earnings plays. And then basically Macau is shutting down for 45 days. That's a very small number of words to describe what's going on, but conceptually kind of shutting down for 45 degrees. So Everything casino is getting hit. Wynn, Las Vegas, and Melco Entertainment are all just getting pummeled this morning, and I think we'll continue to sell off. I was in Wynn back in the days of like April, May. I went into Wynn thinking that the casinos would open up. We waited around forever for that first earnings report. Didn't happen, and we basically dumped it. So good thing we're out now, because it's falling like a rock. So if you're still in it or have a piece of it, just close your eyes and hit sell this morning. It's not coming back anytime soon, in my opinion. All right, with that, if you're checking us out on replay, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you want to join us in the room, it's $25 a month to come on in and be able to ask me questions directly. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with what is this screen. Oh, there we go. New screen. All right, here we go. All right, here's our lineup card for today, Wednesday, September 15th, halfway through September. That's right, almost to the fourth quarter of the year. September is traditionally a down month, or the worst month. I think August is the worst, so it's second worst to August. As far as months in the stock market, a lot of selling, and you've seen some of that right now. We'll talk about the overall market here in a second. I'm not worried. We knew it was kind of coming, so you just kind of roll with the flow here. Some people are starting to get excited, and I understand that. But it's all part of the rodeo, I will say, and you don't want a market that goes straight up forever. All right, standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear in this presentation. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. Now let's get started. Mission objectives: grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. This is specifically talking about growing our money through investing in space exploration. Whether it's for commercial purposes, whether it's for scientific purposes, whether it's to escape the planet that's going to heck, I don't know. I mean, they make a lot of movies about this, but is it going to happen? I don't know. Probably, right? We're going to expand and pollute the universe like we have our own planet. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I do think we're going to have the technology to do it. So therefore, we're going to do it, whether we should or shouldn't. And whether you're going to make money on it, that's what we're talking about today. Personally, I don't think so. Again, I'm keeping my money out of this right now. But if you want to invest in it, here's how you do it. All right, credit market, we'll talk about our flow, long, short, open, short, long, market review, headline review, and then we'll talk specifically. If you're going to do it, go through ARKX. That's Cathie Wood. It's high risk. If you put 10,000 in, you could wake up with that 10,000 down at 6,000, right? That's all part of the ride. You don't hit invest and then flinch when you get punched in the face, right? Anything with Cathie Wood, you're going to be on a roller coaster. You're going to have high 5 days. You're going to have, go sit in the closet and cry it out kind of days. That's the kind of investment that is. So just know that going in. If you want something a little more safe, UFO is pretty good. I do have client money into UFO. ROKT, rocket, is exploration up and down, not only just space, but also deep sea exploration. If that interests you, then that would be the way to play that. And then your standard defense ones are ITA and XAR, kind of your basic deals there. All right, we will have to talk about those after the market opens. So let's get the market open. I'll be right back to you here in just a second. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have about 20 seconds to the market open here on Wednesday, September 15th. We're talking about space exploration, but what we're doing right now is our longs and our shorts, and then we'll get back to the space stuff here in a minute. So 10 seconds to the open. You have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade Think Pipes platform. Far left, you have the S&P 500 on a 1-minute chart, and then you have the Weber going long, and then Wynn, there's our opening bell, Wynn and Melco going short. I like the shorts better here. You can see that they're right at the edge of the envelope. The Melco is a little easier to trade. Now, for both these, if they just fall off the cliff, there's no way to get in on that. We would need them to back up, which is basically profit taking, and give us a better entry. So if they just continue to strike down, then there's no real entry there. Weber going long. Again, Weber's on earnings play, as well as we have another long we can switch and take a look to. I do like that it's come in some. You can see the earnings down there. I do like that it's gone down some. It'd be a 15-cent stop. So it's very, that's about a 15-cent move since it opened there. So we would need it to come down to 14.5 or so, be able to turn around and take it long. All right, Win falling like a rock. Melco fell like a rock, but it's coming back up. Melco's a little easier to trade because it's going to be a 10-cent stop, but we need it to come back up in here at least. Well, there it is. Okay. All right, try to get an entry here. 1088 is the top of the day, high of the day. So we could call it 1090. So 1080 is our entry point. Short 1080 with a 10-cent stop, covering at 1090. So have those numbers in mind. If it powers higher, that's helpful. But if it turns around and flips short here, 1080 in, it'd be 1058, and it was almost at 1050 a few seconds ago, to be honest. I'm going to, well, zooming in, missed my entry. That's how that works. All right, did not get the entry there. If you got it, good for you. I saw it go up there to 10.9, was ready to move things, and it flipped right back down. So we would need it to come all the way back up here again above 1080 before we can get an entry into Melco short. And we're not going to get it. That's exactly the entry we're looking for. And honestly, I just missed it while I was zooming in. So sometimes that happens. All right. Can you take Win here? No, you would need it to come up higher before you could turn around and take it. So we'll give it a second, see if it does. I don't expect it to. All right. Weber long. Don't really like the entry here. CAN. A little better entry here on CAN with a 10-cent stop. So this is all profit taking. So we could take how's the market doing now? The market's going red. So don't really want to take a long in the face of a red market here. So, all right, not going to trade today. Wanted to look at one more Las Vegas Sands. See if it's selling off as well. It actually hadn't sold off. 37 be a 35, should be 36.65 would be the entry, but it hasn't really shown much weakness. Down to 35, in at 37. We could do this. All right, market's showing red, 37. So let's go 36.70 with a 30-cent stop. This is short in Las Vegas Sands. There's the entry point, so we're taking it. So 30 cent, and again, this is short. We're covering all the way up to 37. You can still take it here, just use 35 cents as your stop. So here's your upper boundary, 37, which the reason I like this is it tried to go higher, couldn't, tried to go higher, couldn't, tried to go higher, couldn't, and now it's striping down. So again, 30-cent stop. So 30, we got to zoom out here to put our, need to go all the way back to where it was. 36.70, 36.40 is the next stop down. That's your 1 hour point. 36.10 is your 2 hour point, and 35.80 is the 3 hour point. So you're looking at that for your exit. So again, in at 36.70, covering at 37, and then 1, 2, and 3 are all the way down there. So we'll let that kind of cook. So right after I said we're not going to trade this morning, saw that entry in LVS. So the trade is in the money right now. All right, let's go ahead and zoom out and take a look at some of the other stuff here. Overall for the market, we'll come back to this in a second. I think that's going to be an easy trade, to be honest. Well, it's frozen now. That's not optimal. Come on. All right, we'll give TDA. I'm going to go away from it here for a second and come back to it and see if it wakes up. So here's our. We'll cover the market review here real quick. So the futures still showing futures there. Let's get those off the screen. All right. It is opening Sands futures there. It's still slightly in the green for the day. Europe mixed, Asia in the red, pretty significant in Hong Kong. Casino stocks in Hong Kong plunge. So that's we're involved with that with our LVS short. Bonds hardly moving. We won't really talk about that. Oil up to 72 continues to kind of power higher. Gold and silver both selling off slightly, and then pretty big bounce in crypto yesterday. So 47.5 there in Bitcoin. All right, TDA is not working on another screen, so I'm going to kill it and get back into it. Let me write down our entry point. So 3670 in LVS, 37, and then our exit point is 40, 10, 80 would be 3580. All right, so killing off TD Ameritrade here. Have to hard kill it. It is not responding. All right, and then we'll get back to the headlines of the day and talk some space stuff since we are in that. But have your if you're in the trade with me, have it pulled up on another screen. So obviously, we can't see it here. All right, that should be pulling up here in a second. All right, so we went around the world, back to the headline, the markets here. I kind of don't know how, but Governor Newsom easily survived recall. So it shows you how blue California is after they spent all that time and effort to get back on there, to get him on the ballot, if you will, for the recall election. Delio was on CNBC this morning talking about how regulators are the biggest threat to crypto. I don't know if I buy that. Cathie Wood yesterday said Bitcoin's going to 500,000. I can't say that she's wrong. That's why I have exposure to it through MicroStrategy. But it's not close, right? That's a 10x from where we are now. So you'll be happy if it does that, if you're invested in it. All right, there should be a space exploration headline here. Brittany and Monday Night Football get higher billing than space exploration. Why am I not seeing? I had to look past it. All right, I'm not seeing it for whatever reason. I'm going to share out the TDA and so we can check back on our trade. We always talk about TDA and the overall market. So here's where we are at the market there. To the far right is that stair step down. We've been facing for what, 6 of the last 7 days, the market's come down. But I mean, get a grip, go all the way back in time to the end of August is where we were. So it's not like it's fallen like a rock. It's just taking a little stair step down. That's plenty healthy. That's done that in the past. So not too worried about that. All right, check back on the trade, see if it remembers my numbers here. It does not. So it was LVS. Gonna have to draw that again. Well, we're still in the trade. That's good. We're right where we took it, 36.70. Again, here we covered up at 37. It hasn't touched that. We are in it short. So let me get the arrow in here. And draw. All right, 36.4. Almost got to the 2-hour point. 36.1 is the 2-hour point, and again, 35.80 is where we're looking to exit. You see the market helping us out by selling off here a little bit. All right, let's come back and look at a little bit about some of these defense names that I talked to you about. First of all is, well, that's XAR. Let's look at ARKX. So if you're going to do it, this is how I recommend it. So ARKX, basically, what's that? 6 months ago, this came out, space exploration. You can see that in innovation ETF. Again, it's Cathie Wood. She's kind of magic, but you will definitely take a ride. And you can see the triple top. It's gone up to 23 times and basically sold off hard from there. So what does that mean? I do think that means the next time up through 2120, it's going to continue higher. So I don't have any problem there. So you're getting flat highs and higher lows, if you will, when you look at how far it's coming in. But pretty good entry point, almost right where they started at $20 a share. So you can consider that one if you're going to do it. All right, next one is UFO. This is the ones I do have clients in. Same sort of thing. It's went up initially, and then it's basically channel bound. I personally think ARKX is a better version, but people like the UFO name, so I don't argue with my clients very often. So have to really be important, not just a name change to argue with them. ROKT, again, is the one that's both. It's a final frontiers thing, so both up and down, like I was saying earlier, space exploration as well as deep sea exploration. So if that interests you both ways, if Journey to the Center of the Earth was your favorite movie as a kid, then this is probably a better play for you, because you get both sides of it. And then if you're really just looking at the defense, ITA is my favorite. Also, you can do XAR. It's a little cheaper, but I don't think it's as good. You can see the defense stocks have been selling off. Why would the defense stocks sell off here? It boggles my mind. So you have the exit from Afghanistan, which I don't care where you lie politically, didn't seem to go all that great. If you remember the headlines this morning, again, I didn't see it on CNBC, but I've been talking about this with my clients because I've been putting them into defense stocks, is that, I wouldn't be surprised if Korea started launching missiles. Well, guess what? This morning they launched 2, right? So I think we're going to see more of the, traditionally we would call it saber rattling. It's not really saber rattling, it's just being annoying. But because I don't think they're serious, but I think we're going to see more and more of that around the world while we have our current administration. Now, current administration could rise up and punish that and make an example of them. So I'm not saying that the current administration will miss the mark on their response, but I do think they are going to be challenged, if you will. All right. And then the last thing I want to show you is lately I've been talking to some folks about pre-IPO investing. Well, you can't invest in SpaceX yet, but the pre-IPO, I mean, look at the valuation of this. That's how those charts look pre-IPO. I mean, not for everybody, but that's what I'm saying. There's exponential growth to be had before you take it public. That's where the big money is made when something starts from scratch, i.e. zero as a concept. It starts to build, it gets enough momentum where you say, you know what, this thing is going to be huge. And then you take the ride until it is huge. So consider. All right. Last thing we'll talk about is the credit markets out there. So when you think of traditional investing, you think of stocks and bonds, right? There are some alternatives out there, real estate. You can do it all through insurance if you want to pay a little more and get a little bit less. But hey, some people like the security of it's not my problem anymore. It's the insurance company's problem. Okay. Not my deal, but I get it. And a lot of people find that attractive. Now, if you are searching for yield, if you will, i.e. right now, the bond market's not paying you. It's really only paying about that 3.5 to 4%, which is better than money sitting in the bank, but doesn't really, quench your thirst for return. Right. Well, Blackstone has a new credit fund that's out. There's a couple of different ones, but the one that I'm talking specifically about is BCRED, where you have to go through an advisor. It's an alternative investment, so there's some extra paperwork paying. You can't just buy it on the open market. You have to have a contact there, which I have all those relationships in place. So when I talk to you about this investment, you need to know what I'm talking about. It's in the space above basically bond investing. So all of the credit market involves investment grade bonds, junk bonds, all the bonds, as well as things on top of that, which are loans that go out that people either don't qualify for, the good rates, if you will, or small business loans, business and development loans, those sorts of things. Higher risk loans are up in the credit space. This fund that pays out basically a steady-ish 8%, and it pays out monthly. I have no problem with it because of one reason: it has the Blackstone name behind it. If this was Jimmy Bob's credit fund, I would run away. No way I would touch it. And honestly, if it was Wells Fargo or even JP Morgan, I wouldn't touch it. But I do believe in the Blackstone name. I do believe that they do their own due diligence. And I'm very confident putting money into this fund. But it does have things like CDOs and default swaps. And if you hear that and you think of the Big Short and you think of the market crash in 2008 and the global financial crisis and it caused all of that, then stay away. Okay. If you can't get past that, or if you think, gosh, we learned an awfully lot during that time, so we're not going to do that again, then you're just fine moving into the space. That's my take on it. If you're like, nope, no way, I get it, I'm not going to try to convince you, we'll just move on. But I do like the return that this offers. All right. So that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for checking things out. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.